My name is John Frank, and I'm Vice President, EU Government Affairs for Microsoft, and it's my pleasure to welcome you all here for this evening's event. We're working with EURACTIV and the Estonian Presidency to have events on three topics of importance to the Estonian Presidency. This is our second event, and we'll have another one next month. And I'd like to just mention Microsoft's connection to sustainability as well. Our industry is going through a major transformation to an era of cloud computing. And we're building these massive data centers as fast as we can to meet customer demand, to move computing applications to our cloud data centers. And to be honest, we're consuming a lot of electricity. And so we've taken a pledge to be carbon neutral, but also to invest in green energy. And so last week we announced our first major wind energy project in Ireland. And what's unique about it is working with GE, we're experimenting at not just windmills, but if you will, windmills with fuel cells or batteries to absorb and even out the electrical generation. Because when it's windy, they generate a lot. When it's not, and sometimes, you know, it gets too windy, it's a problem for the networks, but people in this room probably know much more about it than I do. But we are committed to working on energy increasingly, and given this infrastructure that we're building, we're finding in some places, parts of the world, the backup generation facilities that we have can actually become part of the public utilities backup resources as well. And so we're working to try to be creative and to participate in a socially responsible manner. But public policy is clearly an important aspect of this, and so we believe that, you know, the energy policies, look, we're just a tiny speck in this of a very big industry, but we're looking at energy policies to see how we can evolve to meet the growing needs of the future. So at this point, I would like to be sure to thank Megan Richards from the European Commission for joining us tonight, Sim Malist from the Estonian Perm Rep, Sam Kimmins from RE100, and Pierre Tardieu from Wind Energy for joining us today. And I'll now turn it over to Brian Maguire, reporter for EURACTIV, who will moderate this evening's discussion. Please welcome Brian.
Our panelists today, Megan Richards, Director for Energy Policy at DG Energy. Welcome. We also have Pierre Tardieu, Chief Policy Officer at Wind Europe. Pierre. And we have Sim Malist, the Councillor for Energy at the Estonian Perm Rep to the EU. Good to see you here. And Sam Kimmins, Head of RE100, the Climate Group. I've asked each of our panelists just to do a quick introduction, who they are, what they're working on, and their interest in this theme as well. So, Megan, please introduce yourself, and let's hear.
Well, you've said who I am,
yes,
but I'll tell you what I'm working on. But if I really had time, it would take weeks. But in a nutshell, what we're working on right now is the Clean Energy for All Europeans package, which is 8 legislative acts which are currently going through the Parliament and the Council. And Sim is proof, he's still smiling. So under the Estonian Presidency of the Council of Ministers, this is something that really takes up almost all his time, 24 hours a day. And this includes a number of areas which are of particular importance to this group: Renewable Energies Directive, Energy Efficiency Directive, EPBD, which is, I always get the name wrong, but it's energy efficient buildings, let's put it that way. So these are all very important aspects that are going through, and the one that is of particular interest to me, because my directorate is specifically looking after it, is something called the governance regulation, which sort of brings much of this together. And we'll talk about market design and the electricity issues as well. So that's what we're doing.
Pierre Tardieu.
Yeah, just a word on Wind Europe to start with. So we're the voice of the wind industry here in Brussels and throughout Europe. 450 members throughout the wind energy supply chain. Our stake in this is obviously the rules that are decided today are really going to determine the fate of the sector for the next decade, but the energy system as a whole. We believe that wind could be at the core of this energy system, providing clean, competitive, and reliable energy. We published our scenarios a couple of weeks ago, and in the central scenario, which assumes that we do everything right, what we're going to talk about tonight, wind could meet 30% of the energy of Europe's electricity demand. So it would be fairly central to the energy system and help contribute to the long-term vision of the energy union that's been outlined by Vice President Šefčovič. And I'm really looking forward to the discussion how we get the building blocks of this energy union right.
Thank you, Pierre. Sim.
Thanks a lot. Thank you for having me. And indeed, I can confirm that I'm still smiling. I still have some blood circulation, so not completely pale in the face. Indeed, my task in the council is to chair the working party, one of two chairs of the working parties in on the renewable energy and on the international issues mostly. But of course, as the files have their tentacles spread out all over the package, then we are also talking about digital energy, digitalization of the energy sector, and topics of the like. And here I'm part of the task force, especially brought in for the presidency. Normally I work for the ministry in the capital.
You're very welcome. Sam.
Thank you, Brian. So my name's Sam Kimmins. I'm the head of RE100, which is an initiative led by the Climate Group in partnership with CDP. So RE100 is a demand-side initiative. We currently have 111 corporate members, all of whom are committed to 100% renewable electricity across their global operations. And our host is one of our members. Our membership also includes Procter & Gamble, Google, AXA Nobel, IKEA, H&M, across the US and Europe. We also have members from India, China, and increasingly Japan. So it's a truly global initiative. So by committing to 100% renewable electricity, our members make up a demand for renewables of 152 terawatt hours per year. That's approximately the electricity demand of Poland. Domestic, business, industrial, the entire annual electricity demand of Poland. So it's becoming quite significant. We keep having to make a bigger slide to get all the logos on.
Thank you, Sam.